This is CBC Here and Now.
I wouldn't want to go too far to say that the royal visit is really about reconciliation itself, that this was a major feature of why the visit is happening.
The province prepares for tomorrow's royal visit. Tonight, what does this trip mean for Indigenous groups and reconciliation? Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes. Well, we are on the eve of a royal visit in Newfoundland and Labrador. Prince Charles and his wife Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, will be in St. John's tomorrow. It's the first stop in a 3-day whirlwind tour of Canada. The visit is part of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations to mark 70 years on the throne. We start our coverage tonight with the CBC's Thomas Dagla.
With the cannons atop Signal Hill still bearing the initials of the monarch and the Union Jack fluttering in the Newfoundland wind, this British-tinged corner of Canada will play host to Prince Charles and Camilla as they kick off a 3-day national tour.
Yeah, I think people are excited.
Among those welcoming the royal couple, this century-old non-profit knitting group. With a royal visit comes plenty of attention, and St. John's will bask in the spotlight.
One of the gifts that we will be presenting tomorrow is a replica of the sweater that was made to present to the Queen at the birth of Prince Charles.
Police and royal tour planners are mapping out security measures and every step along the way, from the Lieutenant Governor's residence to the old kitty-vitty fishing village. Charles will visit after a recent poll suggested only a third of Canadians approve of the country remaining a constitutional monarchy with him as king.
If Prince Charles and Camilla are coming here now to reinforce Canadians' opinion of the monarchy, I think it's a mistake.
The royal couple will walk through this heart garden and pause for a moment of reflection and prayer. It's dedicated to the victims of residential schools, and this is one stop on a tour meant to highlight reconciliation efforts. Just last year, the horrors of residential schools prompted protesters in Winnipeg to topple a statue of Charles's ancestor, Queen Victoria. In the Northwest Territories, as in Newfoundland, Charles will meet with Indigenous leaders, including Todd Russell of the Nunatukevoot Community Council in Labrador.
There's been a lot of wrong done in the name of the Crown, and there's a lot of good that needs to happen.
More than 500 years after Henry VII sent men to these shores, the future king will seek to address wrongs of the past. Thomas Dagla, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, you saw Todd Russell there in that report. The Indigenous leader says he doesn't believe this visit is about reconciliation, but he is glad to be part of it. More on that conversation, including the role he believes the Royals play in reconciliation. That's ahead in about 25 minutes on Here and Now.
So what does the forecast look like for the royal visit? Well, we're going to see some cloudy skies to start through the day. Typical temperature around 2 degrees. Winds will be out of the southeast about 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. As we head into the afternoon, it does look like we should see some peaks of sun. Not overly sunny, but certainly see some peaks. Should reach the double digits as well, around 10 degrees. Those winds will be out of the southeast between 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Then as we get into the evening hours, those temperatures will drop a little bit. We'll see some clouds on the increase, and that's because we do have some rain on the way. Now, if we take a look at the temperatures today, we're sitting around 11 degrees in St. John's this afternoon, 16 in Badger. Temperatures up across Labrador into the single digits. Like I said, lots of rain on the way, or some rain on the way. Also some windy conditions for parts of the province. I'll get into the full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, spring cleaners took advantage of that pocket of nice weather we had in St. John's on Sunday. The province shut down the Outer Ring Road most of the day for a deep cleaning. It hasn't said just how much garbage was collected yet, but by the looks of it, there was a fair amount of trash along the highway. Well, now to some politics. The official opposition wants an action plan from the province amid the rising cost of fuel and gas. The PCs say they'll continue the debate in the House of Assembly until government announces a plan to reimburse the people of the province.
To those seniors out there that need help with their home heating program, to the people who commute to work every single day, to the single moms, to others who are struggling with the high cost of gas and home heating fuel, we want the government to make an announcement of some type of rebate program. I believe there's significant enough money within the current budget. I also believe they're bringing in additional revenues over and above what they budgeted for. So there are opportunities. They need to sit down and make it happen.
Staying with the House, the Fisheries Minister says he's losing sleep over a decision on whether to grant processing licenses to a plant in St. Mary's Bay. A refurbished plant in the community is ready to open, but is waiting for the go-ahead from government. Meanwhile, residents say crab from the area is being trucked away. The minister says he's still going back and forth on that decision.
43% of the crab caught and processed as of a couple of days ago, so we're getting close on the 50% of a quota that was 30% increase. So if we were on the old quota, I know you shouldn't look at that, but I mean, if you were on the old quota, you'd be well over the 50% mark right now. We'd be only 5 weeks into it. Most of the people and work in the fish plants need 14 weeks to be eligible for ELI benefits. And if we shorten that by too much, we will affect a lot of jobs. So I take this decision very, very seriously.
One of the federal Conservative leadership candidates is in St. John's tonight to drum up some support. Pierre Poilievre is holding an event at the Holiday Inn Hotel at this hour. Poilievre arrived in the province over the weekend. He held a meet and greet in Grand Falls, Windsor on Saturday, and last night he was in a hotel in Clarenville. Poilievre is one of 6 candidates in that race. The vote will be held in September. And we learned today that the Prime Minister will be in St. John's to greet Charles and Camilla tomorrow. Premier Andrew Furey says he hopes to use that opportunity to appeal for healthcare funding through the Canada Health Transfer.
I think the time is right. The healthcare system needs an infusion, but it also needs to be reimagined. And this is a true moment of disruption that I think if we revert to the mean, that will be the true devastation of this particular historic time. Look, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and that's about driving better outcomes for Canadians. And so I think once we get this table set through this working group, I think we will make good progress.
I'm Caroline Hillier, and ahead of the royal visit, we wanted to find out what it means to be a prince or a princess. So we're going to ask some experts. Hello, grade ones. Who can tell me what it means to be a prince or a princess?
It means that some princesses and every princess and prince are kind, encouraging, helping their parents.
Like there were many princes like in the olden days, but now they died and there's not much now here.
When you heard that there was a prince coming to St. John's, what did you think?
I was really excited.
Yeah, why are you excited?
Because I've never seen a king or a king or prince or princess.
If you were a princess, what kind of princess would you be?
I don't think I would really want to be a princess.
No? Why not?
Because I just like to be myself.
Princess Charlotte and Princess Janet, if you guys were princesses, how would you act? What would you do?
I'll just stay in bed and sleep.
Why?
Because mostly I don't wake up when it's school time.
Oh, you don't wake up when it's school time. So as a princess, you could do whatever you want? Did you ever want to be a prince?
Yeah, I definitely.
What kind of prince would you be if you were a prince?
I'll be the kindest prince in the whole world. Everyone will respect me.
What do you think he's going to do here? Do you think he's going to go to the playground or the mall? What do you think he's going to do?
I'm going to go to the mall.
What do you think he's going to be like?
He's going to be old.
Is the prince old like me or older?
I think like you.
Oh, old like you. Poor camera person Daryl Murphy who was shooting that. That was fantastic. Well, from an elementary school in St. John's to a high school in Labrador City, dozens of students walked out in protest on Friday. They were upset about what they say is the unfair treatment of a classmate who's transgender. Here and Now's Daryl Din has that story.
The question over who can use which bathroom at Menahek High School led to this student protest Friday. The students say they are frustrated because a fellow student who's transgender was being told he could only use a gender-neutral bathroom. The problem is that bathroom is on the far side of the building and students only get a short washroom break. While administrators sought clarity from the school board, about 75 students left the building and held a protest outside. The student at the center of the controversy didn't take part, but they did get plenty of support.
Grade 12 year of high school, and I've been fighting for this for 5 years, so it makes me very happy to know that people are doing this, because I shouldn't have to fight for my basic human rights to even use the washroom.
Prior to the protest, a bathroom in the school was vandalized and the students took their concerns to social media. That prompted a warning from the principal. Students sent CBC News this recording of an announcement before the walkout.
Additionally, there have been some posts made on social media that are untrue regarding members of our staff. These comments could be considered slander, which is a criminal offense, and is up to the individual if they choose to pursue further consequences or charges through the RNC. As a result of these incidents, any signs that are posted in our building will be removed. Any student caught vandalizing our school will be suspended.
The school does have 2 gender-neutral washrooms, but students say there's not enough time to get to them.
We only get 4 minutes to use the bathroom. So how am I, if I'm on the top floor senior side, going to make it down to the gender-neutral bathroom and back after using it in time to not get in trouble?
The local Pride Committee in Labrador West is surprised to hear of the walkout.
We have a number of Menahek staff who actually sit and volunteer on our board. Very, very supportive, hardworking folks who definitely have supported everything we've been doing in the community.
As the students protested, the school decided to shut down early for the day. The principal later said he had received clarification from the board and that students can use the washroom that they are most comfortable with. Daryl Din, CBC News, Labrador City.
Well, the winds are going to ramp up for the southwestern portion of the province. We'll talk about that and have the full forecast coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Absolute final deadline is midnight, Friday, June 3rd. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Time for a look at the weather, and we have that big royal visit coming tomorrow to St. John's. Very brief visit, but should the prince and Camilla pack their parka, I wonder, for tomorrow? It was so cold this morning.
Yeah, it was freezing this morning, but
Yeah.
temperatures do look like they're going to climb up as we head through tomorrow, very much like it did this afternoon, in fact. But yeah, like you said, cold night last night. Take a look at those temperatures. -3 was the overnight low in St. John's, so if you were out watching the blood moon, you definitely had to bundle up. But temperatures across the board really were fairly chilly as you head towards the southwest, though. Stephenville, 4 degrees is your overnight low, 2 in Lab City, and then those temperatures across coastal areas of Labrador sitting in the minus single digits. Now, they did rebound quite nicely for some areas. 11 degrees in St. John's today. That was the daytime high. 13 in Gander. 17 and 18 were the 2 hot spots in across the island, I should say. And then up across Labrador, temperatures around 9 degrees in Lab City today, and only about -1 in Nain. So what we have is not a whole lot going on across the island. Clouds are on the increase. We've got a bunch of systems or a bunch of troughs moving through, stationary front and as well as a warm front. So that warm front's going to head this way as we head through the night tonight. We're seeing some showers being sparked by that stationary front and going to continue to see that as we head through the overnight tonight. Now, we do have some colder air in play along the coast. These are the upper levels, which is why those temperatures for coastal areas of Labrador are a little bit chilly. But as we head through the night tonight, that warm front's going to move in, and the winds are going to ramp up, particularly for the southwest. Those areas that are prone to southeasterlies are going to see those stronger winds. They could be in excess of about 80 kilometers per hour through the day tomorrow, starting in the morning and then into the evening hours as well. So Environment Canada has issued a wreck house wind warning for you. You can expect those winds gusting in the wreck house area upwards of about 100 kilometers per hour through the overnight. So taking a look at the current conditions right now in St. John's, some cloudy skies, the story. Did see a few peaks of sun today, but overall temperatures are around 7 degrees, feeling more like 4 with those winds at the moment out of the southeast, about 19 kilometers per hour. So other areas across the province still seeing an absolutely beautiful night or evening, I should say. 15 degrees in Badger, 17 still in Deer Lake, but those temperatures significantly cooler as you head towards the northern peninsula. Only 1 degree right now in St. Anthony, and as we head through the night tonight, your temperatures really aren't going to move too much either. About 0 in St. Anthony through the overnight tonight, and temperatures across Labrador should sit between 1 and 3 degrees, going to stay pretty much where you are in Nain. Otherwise, overnight lows tonight across the island, ranging from about 2 degrees in St. John's with those winds easing, and then towards, as you head towards the west coast, you're looking at Corner Brook sitting around 7. Now, as we head through the night tonight, we are going to see the chance of, don't be surprised if you see a few flurries for the northern peninsula, but overall anything south of that should fall as showers tonight. And then we'll see some heavier rain move in tomorrow afternoon with that across the west coast, and then head towards central Labrador. And then eventually we're going to see those showers move in for southwestern areas of the island and then work their way across the island as we get into Wednesday morning. So how much rain are we talking about? Well, the most should be up across Labrador. You're looking the west anyway, somewhere between 20 to 30 millimeters. Otherwise, not a whole lot of significant rain expected across the island. We're looking at anywhere from 5, maybe 10 at the most, 10 millimeters. So temperatures tomorrow expected to be in the double digits. We may see them a little bit warmer than this in some areas, especially if we see that sunshine for a bit longer tomorrow. The winds will be out of the southeast between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. A few showers possible in the morning for Bonavista, but then you should see some sun as the day goes on. Same thing for the south coast. As you head towards central, you're looking at anywhere from 11 to 15 degrees. Similar temperatures on the west coast, except a little bit more unsettled, a little more breezy as well. Winds out of the southeast between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Those temperatures in the single digits for the northern peninsula. Same thing for southeastern Labrador, but they will get a bit warmer as you head a little bit further west. Some rain possible, or rain likely for Lab City around 9 degrees. So let's look at the forecast for tomorrow. We'll look ahead when I come back.
Well, St. John's singer-songwriter Kelly Loader is hoping for some hometown support tomorrow night as they perform in the finale of the national competition, Canada's Got Talent. The winner will be decided through online voting during the live broadcast and then announced at the end of the show. So we caught up with Loader to find out how this national exposure has affected their music career.
Let me get so high. I call you when I need you and my heart's on fire.
Last week was incredible. I loved what you did, mashing up the songs like that. Can you talk about the reaction that you received to that performance?
Oh man, it was nuts. So like during the performance, there was times where I couldn't even hear myself because people were cheering so loudly. I tried a few different things. I wanted to be able to give people a taste of what I can do as a songwriter, but I also wanted to give them something they were familiar with. The first part of the song is actually a song of mine called So High, which is already released, and I love playing that song. I love that I got to play the piano and showcase that part of my talent. I know how Newfoundland supports their own, and I was really hoping they would support me, and they did, and they showed up. I can't even tell you how grateful I am. And the East Coast, because I'm the only contestant left from the East Coast at this point, including all the Atlantic provinces, and Canada too. Just like outside of the East Coast, they were all voting too. So it was like, it's wild, like to have strangers who've never met you want you to do well and succeed, and they put their votes in too.
What kind of opportunities are you foreseeing that will come out of this as you move to that next step?
Well, I mean, there's festivals that have reached out to book me. There's bigger artists that have reached out to book me as an opener. It's wild. My summer is starting to fill up. I know every weekend in July is gone at this point. And it's just, it's everything I've wanted and more. So, and I also want to talk about a show I have coming up at Holy Heart. So whatever way the finale goes, I'm still going to come home and celebrate, with my people in St. John's. And that show is on the way to being sold out right now. So it's quite awesome.
Talk about what this entire experience has been like for you so far.
Honestly, I feel like a superstar. Like I get treated like a superstar. It's crazy. It's I feel like I'm finally, I've known for a while that I'm gifted in different ways, and for Canada to recognize it too is just everything I've ever wanted. And I think it's just one step closer to being an international artist. And yeah, it's just like I'm filling up right now thinking about it, because it's all happening, and it's really, really special.
What are you telling yourself right now? How are you building yourself up to get ready for this big performance?
I'm born ready, right? Like I've been ready for this for a while. Obviously I need to rehearse the parts and rehearse the things I'm gonna do, and all that. But ultimately it's a performance, and what I rehearse might not sound like the performance once I'm up there and I'm feeling all the vibes and feeling the crowd, and it might change completely, but it'll be for the better, because that's the true performance that will come out. And that's been my edge so far, is that sort of genuinity in performing. And I think that's why people have voted me into the final. So I'll just do the things I do, and yeah.
You'll just get up and be Kelly.
Get up and be me.
And you can see Kelly Loader's performance during the finale of Canada's Got Talent Tuesday evening. That's starting at 9:30 Newfoundland time. And you can cast a vote for Kelly during the live broadcast at citytv.com. But voting will close before the end of the show, when the winner will be announced. Prince Prince Charles and Camilla are coming to town. They're going to be here at Government House as one of their stops tomorrow. Coming up, we'll speak with someone who knows all about the do's and don'ts of meeting royalty. We'll speak with Mr. John Perlin coming up. Prince Charles and Camilla's Canadian tour is expected to address Indigenous reconciliation. There's a prayer planned for the Heart Garden at Government House. It's a tribute to children who died in residential schools. Now, the president of Nunatuavut Community Council will be there. He spoke with our Ariana Kellant.
We ourselves, we are excited that there is a royal visit happening. We're excited that we have been invited and been asked to be a part of some of the ceremonies that are happening. That is significant in and of itself because it presents an opportunity to raise up the work in part, what we're doing in terms of reconciliation, but it also enables a part of our story to come out. And really, you know, the story is about the relationship between the Crown and Indigenous peoples. And when I say that, the Crown is really represented by its governments now, the federal government in particular. And so I believe reconciliation is a part of it. And we would certainly feel that this is done with a certain amount of integrity, that is not a check mark kind of, oh, we must include the Indigenous peoples. I think it's deeper than that, yet I believe we should acknowledge it for what it is. I mean, it is a visit from the royals. It is an occasion where our relationship can be emphasized, but I wouldn't want to go too far to say that the royal visit is really about reconciliation itself, that this was a major feature of why the visit is happening. No, I don't think that's the case, but I do believe that the work of reconciliation is influencing this visit. And it's influencing it in a positive way with the inclusion and the recognition of all Indigenous peoples in this province.
Camilla and Charles, what responsibility do you think they have as individual members of the royal family to learn about reconciliation and then to help with that process? Well,
Obviously, we can't have reconciliation that is born out of ignorance. We can't have reconciliation when certain parties are unaware or are not living up to their obligations, their responsibilities. And I think it is important that the Crown and the monarch is fully aware of what its respective representative governments are doing, what their relationships are, because they do represent the Crown. You've often heard this probably, the honor of the Crown is at stake. The honor of the Crown is at the heart of our relationship with government. Honor, that means to say that this relationship is one of integrity, one of honesty, one of transparency, one of mutual responsibility. And I believe that this visit presents us an opportunity to reinforce those values, those responsibilities, those obligations, and the truth of our relationship.
Well, there will be plenty of pomp and pageantry here at Government House for the royal visit tomorrow. And if there's anyone in the province who knows all about the do's and don'ts of meeting royalty, it's this gentleman who joins me now, Mr. John Perlin. So I would kind of call you a royal protocol expert. Would you say that?
Well, I don't know about whether I'm an expert or not, but I've done a number of visits. In fact, most of the visits here since 1974. So.
Wow, 1974. Can you tell us a bit about some of the roles that you've played over the years?
Well, I mean, I kind of fell into it to a degree because I was Director of Cultural Affairs, and Mr. Channing, who was the Clerk of the Council in those days, normally this kind of thing, we didn't have a protocol office in the province, and this kind of thing fell under his jurisdiction. So he roped me in, and the first visit I did on my own was in 1974 with Prince Philip when he was here for the 25th anniversary of Confederation.
How many visits do you think you've done?
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. But the last three that I did were with the Princess Royal.
Right.
And the last one was 2016, and I was doing it on behalf of the regiment.
Yeah, so lots of people will be meeting Prince Charles and Camilla. The royal couple will be stopping at Confederation Building. They'll be stopping here at Government House and at Kitty Vitty. You're an invited guest. Can you tell us what to do when you meet royalty? If you're just someone who is meeting, like, imagine I'm Prince Charles. How would you greet me?
Well, first of all, you know, if he stopped to speak to me, I'd probably say Your Royal Highness, which is what you're normally supposed to do. And if the conversation pursues, then you say sir or ma'am to her, but they're both entitled to be called Your Royal Highness.
And what about bowing or curtsying?
Well, I think certainly in Britain it's still very much in vogue. I'm not so sure that it's done in North America, largely because people have never been used to doing it. They used to bow and curtsy to the Governor General, and that has long since passed out. But I mean, it was because they were acknowledging, particularly with the sovereign.
So if you meet Prince Charles and Camilla and you don't bow, you're not committing any kind of faux pas.
Don't think
or
so.
anything.
I don't think you'd even have time, you know, because if they're doing a walkabout, these things go fairly quickly, and they stop probably at somebody, and or somebody may hand over flowers or things like that, and a conversation is very impromptu.
Now, if you're someone who would like to take a bit more of a traditional approach when you meet royalty, how would you go about bowing? Are we like talking about?
Oh no. For men, it's just a bob of the head. But
okay.
If they're doing a walkabout and suddenly he stops in front of you, I think you might even be slightly flustered. So, and he will probably have his hand out. So.
And if he puts his hand out, would you shake his hand?
Yes, if that's what he's doing. But, you know, the other thing is that, you know, they're very careful about their hands because, you know, if they shake hands a lot, their hands get very sore.
And we're also in a pandemic. Do you think that there will be handshaking?
Oh, I have no idea what's going to happen, you know, because it's a very short period of time. And, you know, I think there's a fairly tight program that has been planned for them, so I don't know how much walking about they're going to be able to do. They'll probably do some down in Kitty Vitty, and I think there's some aspects of the program here, like the tree planting and that kind of thing, and the opening of the walk, which would be certainly there will be members of the public present.
There's been a lot of talk over the years about abolishing the monarchy. Some people feel like it's an outdated institution. What are your thoughts on that? How relevant is the monarchy these days in your mind?
Well, the monarchy, everything is done in Canada in the name of the monarch. It's just a system of government. I think, as I understand it, to change from a constitutional monarchy to, say, a republic of some shape, form, or description, it would require the unanimous consent of all the provinces and territories and all the governments in Canada. And if there's one dissenter, then you're probably going to have a problem. But it would be a major thing to try and achieve. And, you know, the monarchy costs Canada nothing in many ways, except when we invite the monarchy to Canada. And then we're responsible for paying the costs. I don't really believe that it's an issue at the moment in Canada.
And you're going to be an invited guest at the event here at Government House. Are you looking forward to that event?
Oh yes, I mean it's always interesting. But Her Honor invited me to an event here, you know, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather will be good.
Well, Mr. John Perlin, I hope you enjoy the event. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Carolyn.
Well, staying with the royals, with the Queen slowing down and stepping back from more public duties, all eyes are on her successor. Some harbor doubts about how Prince Charles will fare after the long, stable reign of his mother. Here again is the CBC's Thomas Daglin.
It's been a long road for Prince Charles. 70 years on a route he didn't choose, waiting for a job he never asked for. But in what may be the final stretch before the Prince of Wales ascends to the throne, we've come to Wales for insight into the next king. A dairy farm may seem an unlikely place to learn about royalty, but not this royal. His title written on the side of the building in both English and Welsh. The certified organic operation is run by Patrick Holden, a friend of the prince and, at times, his advisor on sustainability.
He somehow has an instinct to understand important issues, very often decades ahead of his time.
Charles was only 3 when his mother became monarch. With her abrupt transformation from princess to queen, he was handed a lifetime to be spent as king in waiting. It's given Charles plenty of time to explore his passion projects, like the sustainable farming pioneered on this property.
When he steps up one, as they say, and becomes king, the constraints on him will increase.
At Buckingham Palace, the plans have been in place for years, with Charles taking on more and more of the Queen's duties. At 96, she barely spends any time here now, and he's stepping in for her at events where the monarch's absence would have long been unthinkable. Laying the Queen's wreath in London on Remembrance Sunday, handing out ceremonial coins at the ancient Royal Maundy Church service, and for the first time, reading the Queen's speech at Britain's state opening of Parliament. Singer-songwriter Joan Armatrading received her Order of the British Empire Award not from the Queen, but Charles.
The British public will be in very, very safe, caring hands when he becomes king. I think a lot of people who doubt his character, I think they're going to be very surprised.
An ambassador for the Prince's Trust charities since the 1980s, she's met Charles again and again and had a rare look behind the public persona, beyond the image of a prince flying on private jets and driving a vintage sports car that runs on surplus wine and cheese. Really.
He's realized that we are in changed times.
Across the Commonwealth, the next monarch will inherit fewer realms and a diminished influence, with the British Empire a thing of the past and former colonies grappling with historical injustices. On his trip to Canada, the Prince will meet with Indigenous elders and honor victims of residential schools. Matthew Rowe, a former top aide for Charles's Canadian charities, is among those eager to greet him again.
When we would be having discussions with him about the charitable work, he would remember something that we had said like 4 years ago and bring it up in discussions. And so I think that's why he's going to be a very good king, because he has a very good memory and a very good way of sort of keeping things moving forward.
And he's poised to keep things moving forward with a slimmer monarchy. When Charles is king, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort, as William and Kate become Prince and Princess of Wales. Their children may grow into senior roles, but other than Charles's siblings, Anne and Edward, close relatives will likely seldom be seen in public with the family.
When Charles becomes king, he's going to have his support system. The number of working royals supporting him is, you can count them on one hand.
Patricia Treble in Toronto has been writing about the royals for more than 20 years. At the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in June, she expects to see one final balcony moment as the family prepares for the end of this Elizabethan era. No one knows how much longer Charles will be on the road to his reign. His journey from prince to king has been just as meaningful, perhaps, as the destination. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Lampeter, Wales.
Welcome back. Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest rates of hypertension in the country. During the pandemic, physicians went virtual and pharmacies turned off their blood pressure machines. Now researchers are trying to figure out if one of the leading causes of death is getting worse. Here Now's Peter Cowan met up with one of the researchers who will be out testing blood pressure tomorrow.
So you're going to be trying to take the blood pressure for lots of people tomorrow. It's World Hypertension Day. Why are you doing this research project?
There's a couple of reasons why we're doing it. First of all, as you probably know, hypertension is the leading risk factor for premature death and disability in the world. In particular, we're interested to come here to Newfoundland and Labrador because your population has a higher rate of high blood pressure than the rest of Canada. And we don't know what impact the pandemic has had on those rates of blood pressure. We know that family physician visits dropped by 79% over the course of the pandemic. And so you got to think that that's not made getting your blood pressure measured very easy. And so people are not being monitored, they're not being screened for high blood pressure. And because high blood pressure doesn't produce any symptoms, that's the only way you're going to know.
Okay, well, you're going to be taking lots of blood pressure tomorrow. Let's go and see how it's going to work.
Sure, let's go. Get that blood pressure checked.
Hey, my name's Matt. I'm a pharmacy student. So we're going to take your blood pressure today, okay?
Perfect.
All right, so I got a cuff here for you. Could you just roll up your sleeve?
Sure.
All right, so your average reading
is, drumroll please,
is 130 over 80.
Okay, good, bad, ugly?
That's for you, that's good. Yep, that's a good result for you.
Why is it that Newfoundland and Labrador has some of the highest blood pressure and highest rates of hypertension in the country?
We don't really know why Newfoundland has a higher rate of hypertension, but there are certain things that are associated with high blood pressure. First of all, obesity. You have one of the highest rates of obesity in the country. Second, salt consumption is another one. Lack of exercise is another one. And diabetes. There's a big association with diabetes as well. So probably that combination of factors is what leads you to have a higher blood pressure than the average Canadian.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
There was a lot to celebrate in Canadian music at the 51st Juno Awards over the weekend. The CBC's Eli Glasner was on the red carpet and has this report.
It's been 3 years since fans and musicians got together to celebrate the best in Canadian music, but last night in Toronto, the Junos returned in grand style.
Oh man, it is so good to be home.
Hosted by homegrown music fan and Marvel superhero Simu Liu, the show was packed with memorable moments, like the return of the pop-punk princess herself, Avril Lavigne.
She was the first person who beat to her own drum and gave me the confidence as a songwriter and as a little artist to be able to say what I wanted to say. So Avril, we love you!
Also enjoying love from fans, Charlotte Cardin, who won 4 Junos, including Album of the Year.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, this is so incredibly special to me.
Another fave, Shawn Mendes, came home to accept the International Achievement Award and had a message for fans.
I'm not standing here to tell you to give up on your dreams. I'm just here to tell you that while you are chasing them, don't forget to enjoy the process and remember, you're already enough.
Be the best, better on your block. In between the awards, performances covering just about every part of the musical spectrum. DJ Shub and the Snotty Nose Rez Kids joined forces for the Indigenous hip-hop track, War Club. The first black woman to be inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, Deborah Cox, wowed the crowd with Nobody Supposed to Be Here. While Mustafa channeled pain into poetry with Stay Alive. And from TikTok to the Juno stage, Tesher performed his viral hit, Jalebi Baby, with a little help from the host himself. Eli Glassner, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, time for a look at the long range, and this is going to be an important weekend coming up. I'm sure a lot of people are already looking ahead, starting to make plans. May 24th weekend. I know it's early, but what are you seeing so far?
Well, the pattern's showing that we could see a warm-up, which is certainly good news because we've been in some cooler air for sure, but it'll start a bit wet. Let's take a look at what's going on to get there anyway. Tuesday evening into Wednesday, this area of low pressure is going to be pretty slow moving, and it's going to bring some showers pretty much across the board. And then in behind it, we do have some cooler air that's going to be in play, especially for Lab West, so we may actually see some snow for you as we head into Wednesday Wednesday evening. Otherwise, temperatures are going to stay cool along the coast. We should reach the double digits between 17 to 19 degrees for central parts of the west coast, northern peninsula, a bit cooler for you as well. And then the further east we head, St. John's, we're still looking at some showers on Wednesday and temperatures into the single digits. Now, as we head into Thursday, that area of low pressure is going to stick around. It's going to continue to move through, but it still will likely spark some showers for coastal areas of Labrador. Nain, you may see a few flurries in the mix there, but some warmer temperatures are going to move in. So 11 degrees for Lab City, 8 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. And then talking about the island, we are looking at the chance of some showers to start. Most of Central should see some sunshine, and those temperatures again back into the double digits. Will reach that as well for St. John's, hovering around 13 degrees through the day. But again, a bit unsettled as we get into the morning hours. Marystown, you should hover around 11 degrees. Now, taking a look at the early forecast for the weekend, the long weekend, Friday is looking like some sunshine, but as we get into Saturday, we're also looking at some sunshine, but those temperatures will be hovering between 14 to 15 degrees. Overnight lows, look at that, double-digit overnight lows as well, 10 degrees it looks like. So looking at the rest of the weekend, even after that, there is a potential that the temperatures that we're going to see through central Newfoundland, see that 19, 21 degrees, we may see that as the weekend rolls through. So it's certainly looking nice to start. Western Newfoundland, you're looking at about 17 to 18 degrees for the weekend at this point as well, and your overnight lows between 9 to 10 degrees. And then as far as Eastern Labrador goes, you're also looking at that warm up between 17 to 19 degrees. So a beautiful start to the weekend. Western Labrador looks a bit more unsettled. Temperatures may fluctuate a bit, but at this point we're looking at between 11 and 12 degrees.
Wow.
So take a look at this. You may have stayed up all night last night to watch this, but this was the super flower blood moon, and Bob shared that photo with us.
I'm sorry to say I did miss that, but what a great shot, Bob. So super flower blood moon. Why is it called that?
It's got a long name. So it's a super moon because it's closer, so it appears larger and more bright. And then it's a flower moon. That is the name given to the full moon in May, and that relates to spring flowers.
Oh, it makes
and
sense.
Then the blood moon is because of an eclipse, and the Earth blocks most of the sunlight from the moon, and it gives it that reddish look.
Oh.
There
Now
you
we
go.
know.
Quick lesson.
Super flower blood moon. Fantastic. Well, that's it for us tonight. Hope you can tune in tomorrow for the royal visit. We'll have lots of coverage on the show. Good night.
Good night.